Hey everybody, it's your girl Neil and welcome to Tea and Conversation. I'm drinking dandelion root tea today. Dandelion root tea is really good for boosting your immune system. It's really great for helping your digestive tract move along as it should. And it's really fantastic for alleviating allergies or allergy symptoms. So today, that is what I am drinking. If you would like to know more about my journey, my weight loss journey, if you would like to know more about my apothecary building, please become a sustainable member of the channel. And there you will find videos of my weight loss, the ups and the downs of it. You will find videos on my apothecary building. Right now, I am in the process of ordering some herbs to get some tinctures going. I'm really doing the things because I want this weight loss journey that I want to be not only sustainable, but I want it to be manageable and I want it to be permanent. And I understand fully that in order to do so, I have to change my lifestyle, which also means I have to change the way I think. And so this has been a journey. It's been a long process. I've been on it for about 2.5 years. So please, 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 if you are on a weight loss journey, you want to support me, I want to support you, please think about becoming a sustainable member of Simply Nails Tiny Studio. This is Tea and Conversation. So let's have a conversation today. Over the weekend, Tab Brown made a video and she talked about a few things, and I thought it would be beneficial for us to maybe discuss the overall picture of what's really happening now, what the discussion is here on social media about boycotting. Target, after at one point saying that they were going to keep their or continue their DEI policies, over the weekend, Target capitulated to the Trump administration. Um, as we all know, last week, 45, now 47, 34-time convicted felon Donald J. Trump had a stupendous week. It was a stupendous, wondrous week for white supremacy here in the United States of America. And the continuation of the train of Make America Great Again, which really means let's make America white again. Let's oppress everyone who is not white again. We know that those executive orders that Donald Trump signed, we know that those orders hit a lot of Americans very deeply, very hard. The DEI initiatives that were put in place after George Floyd was murdered back in 2020, across the board federally, those initiatives have been canceled. Not only that, companies, corporations, universities, and colleges all across America have ditched their DEI programs and initiatives. And when Target announced their fealty to 45, now 47, 34-time convicted felon Donald J. Trump's will, when they capitulated to him, that threw a lot of people into a free fall, a chaotic situation, especially Black-owned businesses who are in partnership with Target. And not only who are in partnership with Target, but also in partnership with Walmart and other stores. And when these companies decided to end or deaden their DEI initiatives and programs, what it did for Black America was throw us all back into a conversation that we have had over the years about boycotting. And so when Target came out and said that they were ditching or canceling DEI, that really shook Black America, because Black Americans, we love Target. We love Target, and Target knows that we love them. Which becomes mind-boggling on many levels, being that they carry, I believe that Target carries over 1,000 different Black-owned brands in their stores. So what really is bothersome to the mind is that Target would cancel their DEI initiatives and not let those Black-owned businesses and brands know of their decision. A lot of these brands, Black-owned businesses who stock their brands on the shelves of Target, they didn't know that this was going down until the rest of us found out. And in many ways, it is indicative of how white corporate America works in this country. Now, Tab Brown came on, and I believe it was Instagram or Twitter, and she made a video about how we need to pause a moment before we make the decision as Black Americans to boycott Target or Walmart or any other company that does business with Black-owned business owners and brands. And she noted that there has to be a strategy in place because Black-owned businesses who, let's say, are on the shelves of Target, like Tab Brown's business, like the Honey Pot, like Kaleidoscope products. I'm thinking about somebody else, Terry Ellis products. There are a lot of Black businesses on the shelves of Target who did not exactly get the memo, or who did not get the memo that DEI initiatives were being canceled. So when we say, let's boycott Target, we're also saying we're boycotting those Black-owned businesses as well. And Tabitha was saying that instead of out and out saying that we're going to boycott Target and in essence boycott her and other Black-owned businesses who have a contract with Target. What she's saying is that we as Black Americans should first think twice about what the boycotting of Target and Walmart, but in this instance Target, would do to Black-owned businesses. She also mentioned that we have to be strategic and not emotional about how we move forward in boycotting different businesses and brands who also do business with Black-owned businesses. And I thought about that. I sat with that for a while and I thought about it. And I am a Black-owned business owner. And at this moment in time, I am able to house different things that, my customers may want or desire to purchase or consume. I'm able to house those things here in a tiny studio and in other areas of storage that I may have. Okay, set aside for just that. But I am a true small business owner. However, for people who do not own a warehouse, for people who do not have who have not set their business up where they can direct ship to the consumer, have contracts with companies like Target, because Target does the hard work for them. Target is able to acquire the warehouses. Target is able to do the shipping. Target is able to do the marketing. When you partner with a company or a corporation as large as Target, as a small business owner, a lot of the weight of managing your business is off of your shoulders and onto Target. If you go to Tabitha Brown's website right now, her website, where she's advertising some of her, where she advertises her brands, those brands link up to Walmart. They link up to Target, which shows me that Tab does not have her own warehouse like Jessica Dupart over at Kaleidoscope, or like Stormy Steele, who has her own warehouse. Well, they both have their own warehouses. So they are able to not only ship, manufacture, and ship things to stores like Target or like Sally's or Walmart. They're equipped to not only just ship to stores, but they're also able to ship directly to the consumer through their website. Stormy Steele and Jessica Dupart, I believe that's her last name, that's the Brat's wife, they have warehouses. They have that in-house structure for their business because they started their business or businesses online. They started their businesses with social media presence and access. Tab Brown is a little different because she was approached by companies and corporations to partner with. So her setup is going to be a little different from Jessica Dupart's or Stormy Steele. So when I say that we have to be strategic about boycotting Target or Walmart, but basically Target, we had to be strategic about boycotting Target. It's because we don't want to damage our sisters and our brothers' businesses. That's not what we want to do. Because tearing them down tears us down as well. Tab Brown's success is my success, is your success. Stormy Steele's success is my success, your success. Jessica Dupart's, her success, and let me make sure I'm saying her name correctly, because I really want to make sure, I want to be intentional with this video, and I don't want to misrepresent Jessica. I want her name to, yes, Jessica Dupart. And we want to continue to support these beautiful, beautiful Black women. We want to continue to support them. And as I said, Stormy Steele, and she is the owner of, let me see. You probably know Stormy. She is on TikTok, and her TikTok store has really, really exploded. The name of Stormy Steele's product or brand is Canvas Beauty. Okay, so Tab Brown doesn't have a Stormy Steele type of situation or setup. Stormy Steele has warehouses of her product, of Canvas Beauty. Warehouses. She has employees on the ground. She has people who are set up to take orders and to ship direct to the consumer. Tab Brown doesn't have that because she is partnered with Target. She and Target are linked together. And from what Tab Brown was saying, is that she's going to be linked with Target for a whole nother year. So as we have the discussion of boycotting, we have to also take into consideration all of the Black brands from Black-owned businesses that are on the shelves right now at Target. We have to keep in mind what it would do to those businesses if we boycott Target as a whole. Now, I have heard people say on social media that we have to think, and we must think of the people, the Black people who will be affected by the greater number of Black people who will be affected by the cancellation of DEI initiatives. I agree. I 100%, 1000% agree that we do have to think of the broader picture and aspects of boycotting companies, corporations, colleges, and universities that have canceled DEI. But we also cannot exclude from the conversation Black-owned businesses that are currently on the shelves of these corporations and companies. And this is why the greater discussion of boycott or boycotting has to be approached. When we think of boycotting, we always bring up the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott that was led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Southern Christian Leadership Association, and the NAACP. It's really important that we look at the past so that we can get a gauge on how to move in the future, in the present. And I really feel that a lot of us do not know our Black history. We only know surface things about our Black history. When Black History Month comes along, our knowledge on Black history, when Black History Month comes along, is only surface knowledge. We need to go deeper. The Montgomery bus boycott was a strategy. It was a strategy. It was a plan. It was a concerted effort of the people in Montgomery, along with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., along with the NAACP and the Southern Christian Leadership Association. It was those three entities that came together to come up with a plan. First of all, that plan began with, let's do the research, and let's get information about the Montgomery bus or transportation system. So after doing research, they had something to work with. Then you have negotiations. Let's talk to the Montgomery Transportation Department. Let's talk to them. Let them know about the research that we have done and what we would like to happen in the future. These are our demands as Montgomery citizens, as Black Montgomery citizens. This is how we would want the Department of Transportation in Montgomery to work. We pay money. We deserve to be treated fairly and as equal citizens. We want to sit wherever we sit because that is what we pay for. We have looked at the data and we have seen and noted that, hey, there are no Black bus drivers. We want you to hire Black bus drivers. Okay, now this is diversity, equity, and inclusion back in 1955. These are our demands. Now the Montgomery City Department of Transportation, they could either decide to go with Dr. King, or they could decide not to go with Dr. King and their list of demands. And that's what happened. The Montgomery Department of Transportation said, screw you, we're not doing that. And so the next step of the plan was to meet and organize, strategize for a boycott. Who would be affected by the boycott? Okay, students who may attend different colleges and universities, they would be affected. Women who had to work, use the bus to go back and forth to work. Black women. The elderly use the bus system. So after the strategy, they figured out who was going to be affected by the boycott. So now that we have a plan, we know who's going to be affected by the boycott. How are we going to deal with that? How are we going to protect? How are we going to protect those who will be of our own, who will be affected by the boycott? So there were plans put into place. Carpooling. We'll walk. We'll make sure that there are lunches prepared at different checkpoints for people who are walking to work, who are walking to school and back. For women who were working as housekeepers and maids and nannies. Sometimes the carpools would consist of white women who would come and pick up their housekeeper or their maids or their cooks or their nannies at different checkpoints throughout the city of Montgomery. There was a plan in place. It wasn't just, we're going to boycott. We're not going to use the bus system any longer. There was a plan in place to help those who would be affected by the boycott. And when a plan was put in place to not only stand on business about DEI in 1955, about making sure that there's diversity as far as where the Department of Transportation and in the city of Montgomery in hiring Black employees to be bus drivers and making it clear that there would be no discrimination on the Montgomery buses where Black Americans, Black Montgomery residents, citizens could sit any place on the bus when they put their money or deposit their money into the cash box. All of this diversity, equity, and inclusion, 1955 style. It went down because there's a strategy. There was a strategy in place. There was a plan. And the plan not only looked out for the best interests of Montgomery, Black Montgomery residents, but it also protected them. It protected them as well. What we're doing right now was saying, well, let's just blatantly boycott Target, boycott Walmart, boycott all the places where sisters and brothers that look like you and I are making a living and creating generational wealth for their families, creating opportunities for other people, other African Americans. Instead of us just blatantly saying we're going to boycott, we need to come up with a strategy. We need to come up with a plan where we can get our points across, but we protect our own, where we protect those who will be affected the most. Because that is what the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott did. It not only got across the point that we want to be treated equally, that we want to be treated with the same rights as our white counterparts. That was only one point of the bus boycott. But we also have to protect those who will be affected by the boycott. And that's what Dr. King did. Later on, in 1968, 67, 68, Dr. King came out or publicized a strategy, and it was called the breadbasket strategy. Let me read that to you because this is important as well, and I want to make sure I get this right because I just do not want to say anything. It's called the Operation Breadbasket 6-point strategy. Okay? What is the strategy? What is a really good boycotting strategy? As I said before, using the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott, using that fact in history as your guide, as our guide, the first thing that we do is we gather the information. The second thing, we produce or create a committee that's going to evaluate that information. The next thing we go through is negotiation and education. The fourth point is the actual boycott, which is economic withdrawal. Number 5, if the economic withdrawal and the boycott succeeds or works, then we get to an agreement or covenant. And then after that agreement and covenant, we don't just walk away or run away. We monitor the situation to ensure that that agreement and covenant stays in place or is enforced. So there are 6 points of strategy to boycotting. 6 points. If we're going to be successful in letting companies and corporations know that our dollar means something, that our dollar is important, then we need to follow that 6-point strategy, Operation Breadbasket. That's what we need to do. Because it makes no sense to have a boycott or to boycott something and it's not organized. You boycott there, I boycott this, my mother boycotts that. No, it has to be a concerted collective effort. And when we are boycotting, we have to protect our own. See, that's something that Colin Kaepernick didn't get when we all claimed that we were boycotting the NFL. Okay, that plot that we had back in, I don't remember, 2020 or 2021, that whole thing with Colin Kaepernick, it failed. It failed miserably. Why did it fail? Because we didn't have a strategy. We did not have a strategy. And because we didn't have a strategy, Jay-Z was able to come in and do what he did and do what he does with his singing and dancing routine. Okay? He was able to get our minds off of what was really important. And even though some people boycotted the NFL, it didn't work. It didn't work because it wasn't a collective effort. It didn't work because there wasn't a strategy in place. It didn't work because none of us knew what we were doing. None of us looked at history as the guide to boycotting the NFL. And we definitely did not protect anyone who would be affected by a boycott or a boycotting the NFL. None of us thought about that because Colin Kaepernick still isn't playing ball today. So our boycotting, so-called boycotting efforts didn't work. And then here's another note on the NFL so-called boycott and Jay-Z and his whole coming in and so-called saving the situation, which he did not do. Okay. If you recall that first Super Bowl, who was up there singing and dancing or rapping and dancing at that Super Bowl? I think it was Snoop. I think it was Snoop. And of course, we all watched it. We all enjoyed it. But we weren't thinking, were we? Once again, we were distracted. We were pushed off our square. We were not paying attention. And we definitely was not protecting, or we definitely did not protect Colin Kaepernick, who is right now the casualty of that ill-fated boycott. So what we want to do now that we are in a different era, what we need to do right now is we need to look back in history, pick up the gems that was laid down for us to consume in 2025. And we need to strategize. We need to strategize. We cannot afford to walk into 2025 and the second week of 45, now 47, 34-time convicted felon Donald J. Trump administration. We cannot walk these next 4 years inside of the Trump era without having a plan. Because remember, they have a plan. They have always had a plan. Project 2025 was also Project 2017, was also Project 2014, was also Project 1981, 82. The Heritage Foundation and right-wing politicians and organizations, they've had a plan for a very long time. They've had a strategy for a very long time. We were the ones that decided to go to sleep on them. We were the ones who didn't believe that all of these things could occur. We were the one we were the ones who became comfortable with the civil rights laws and affirmative action and equal opportunity employment acts. We were the ones who are comfortable that those things will always remain. We were the ones who believed that. But as we see today, when you strategize and you plan and you can constantly do it, or you consistently do so, your plan can come into fruition, and you can be just like 45, now 47, 34-time convicted felon Donald J. Trump and his cronies and his MAGA people, his Make America Great Again peoples. We could be just like them and have the best week ever. They're set up right now to have the best 4 years ever because we were asleep. We didn't strategize. We didn't believe it. We sat on the couch in November. We finger hustled on social media. We decided that we were going to vote for the Green Party or somebody of that nature. We wanted anybody and everybody to be president, but former VP Kamala Harris. And this is what we got. So the only way out of this, my friends, is that we have to strategize. We have to be strategic about how we move. So I just told you, read down to you, Operation Breadbasket's 6-point strategy and how it can be implemented in 2025. Because the idea is not just to boycott. The idea is to protect those who will be affected by the boycott. Remember that as well. Remember the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. Remember that Black citizens of Montgomery were affected by the boycott, and they were protected. Plan, strategy was created to protect those who would be affected by the boycott. So we have to take note of that and protect those Black-owned businesses and brands that may be, or should I say, will be affected by a potential boycott of Target. We have to think and strategize with our mind and not through emotion. Once again, we have to think and strategize with our minds and not through emotion. We have to put our emotions aside and think long and hard about what we're doing, because we're in this together. So thank you so much for hanging out with me in the tiny studio today. Thank you so much for taking the time out to like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you have any comments, please do not hesitate to drop down in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about what Tad Brown said about boycotting in general? And let me know what you feel about your feelings on the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott and the lessons that we can learn from it. All right, then. Well, I will talk to you later. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And don't forget, I upload videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and also sometimes on Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. I'm your girl, Nell. Bye-bye.